The 9 Years Podcast.
We have reached our half century of shows here on the 9 Years Podcast. Thanks for joining us on episode 50 of the show that Wimbledon legends Danny Kedwell, Terry Brown and Adebayo Aziz are all aware of. Huge thanks to all of you out there on iTunes, YouTube and 9yrspodcast.org. Shout out to those of you that like us on YouTube every week. Thank you very much for those. And also those of you that have given us that 5-star iTunes rating and commented as well. Very appreciative of those comments. Thank you very much. My name is Nick Draper, joined by Stuart Deacon. Stu, just in one word, how are you today?
Good.
Great. Descriptive. I like it. We are on the starting blocks for the new campaign, the 2016-2017 season. Big week ahead with trips to Warsaw in Poland. Get your flights all sorted for that one. And then Peterborough. Good lad, Peter. And whilst we preview these games, the main thread of this week's show is to look ahead to the season as a whole. Trevor Williams, co-founder of the club and joint kitman, will be joining us to preview the season and make some predictions as well. But before we get to that, I have to mention Snapchat, Stu. Have you seen that club now has a Snapchat account for us all to follow?
Really? Isn't Snapchat? I don't know. Actually, what is Snapchat? I've never used it.
Have you never used Snapchat? Snapchat is an app in which you take photos and videos and send them to people, but it deletes after a certain amount of time. You have to set it. I think it's the maximum you can do is something like 10 seconds, I think.
Really?
Yeah, and then unless you take a screen grab of it, it will disappear forever.
So to be fair, that's how my brain works at the moment, really. I sort of like...
At the moment?
Things later.
At the moment?
Yeah, at the moment. Snapchat, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so if you're on Snapchat, you can now follow the club, apparently, at afc.wimbledon if you have the app. You'll need the app for this. There's no other way to do it. Obviously, Stu, you're not on Snapchat, but I am. I occasionally have a little go on Snapchat. So for fans of the podcast that are interested, if you wish to follow me on AFCNickD14, I know it's quite a long, complicated, blooming username, but there we go, AFCNickD14. Anyone pointing out AFC means Arsenal, not Wimbledon, you can just do one, quite frankly. But if you have a look, this very morning, I've been on there. I've uploaded a Snapchat for you all to enjoy, but it will go in about 24 hours. So make the most of it whilst you can. You'll see a little message from me to all of you that listen to the podcast. So enjoy. Okay, so pre-season concluded with routine wins over Woking and Dagenham and Richmond. Everyone's now ready to go for the new season, so let's get straight to it, really. We're delighted to welcome Trevor Williams back to the podcast. Trev, how's your summer been?
Yeah, lovely, short. But it was very nice, very nice. Nice way to end it at Wembley. And quite a short sort of summer break with football and bits and bobs, but I managed to get a week's holiday, so that was nice.
Very nice too. You've been at all the pre-season games?
Yes, including Rains Park Vale. So I think if there's a badge for that, I think I get all of them. I missed out Tunbridge for the under 21. So there you go.
Wow, shocking.
Well, I can't be in two places at once.
No, it's a tricky one.
Indeed.
What did you make of pre-season as a whole then? I think it went as we expected it to, really?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was always going to be... I think it was the Dover and the Margate game were sort of slowish sort of starts, but I think with a slightly reduced pre-season and quite an early game in pre-season, because I think, 10 days into pre-season we had our first game or something like that.
Dover was quite early, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's so... And I think it was always going to take us a little while to get going, so I don't think that was really a surprise that bits of Dover and Margate were a bit disjointed. But there again, you needed a longer summer break with the season not finishing until May the 30th, and then back in again, whatever it was, first week in July. You couldn't have done... They needed more than 4 weeks, so I don't think really Ards could have done much different, to be honest.
Any particular player, maybe one individual that stood out for you?
I think bits and pieces, really. I think Darius come back in and has just looked like the defender that we know he is. I think... I'm trying to think, there was any... I like bits that Dean Parrott's done. He's obviously a very, very talented player.
Who's that, sorry?
Dean Parrott.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
I wasn't happy for that.
Chef's just got on strike now because of that.
No, I haven't. I'm just. It's just my sides have actually split. That's what it was.
Right, yeah.
I'm putting myself back together. I think the Sean Kelly, the left back stroke centre half we've had in, has been excellent. So it'll be interesting to see if we can do something with him, because he obviously ticked a lot of boxes in areas we're looking at cover for.
All right, looking ahead then to the new season, here is the state of play in League One. Last season, Wigan made an immediate return to the Championship, having been relegated the season before. Burton went up with them straight through the division after promotion from League Two, and Barnsley won the playoffs in their second season after relegation. They beat Millwall at Wembley, who missed out on an instant return to the Championship, and they'll look to go better this season alongside the beaten playoff semi-finalists Bradford and Warsaw, our opponents on the opening day. Charlton, Bolton and some other team, I'm not sure who, came down from the Championship last season. Northampton, Oxford and Bristol Rovers went up with us. Let's start with those clubs that are then coming into the league then, along with us. What do we expect of the teams that got promoted with us then? So, Stu, of the other three, Northampton, Oxford, Bristol Rovers, are we expecting, or are you expecting any of them to be looking at going up or down, or are they just looking to consolidate in League One this season?
It's interesting, isn't it? Because historically, a team that normally come... Well, if you look at the teams that are in League One at the moment, there's only a couple that have actually sort of come back down, haven't there? So you like the Rochdales, Berries, obviously Burton have done all right. I've got a feeling, out of all the teams that have gone through, the ones I'm going to go for the one that's had the least change. So if you look at Bristol Rovers, all they've done is added Peter Hartley from Plymouth and a free transfer from Port Vale, and also a player that I love in terms of Luke James from Peterborough, who's on loan now for them. So I think they've had the least amount of change. If they keep Matty Taylor, I've got a feeling they could be the surprise team that goes through. If you look at Northampton and Oxford, Oxford have lost a lot of goals in route, so I think they do okay, but I think Bristol Rovers are my tip to go straight through and do a Burton.
Trev, Northampton have got a new manager in charge. Chris Wilder left, and we'll talk about this shortly. He joined Sheffield United. They brought in Robert Page, who was at Port Vale. Robert Page, I think, was the same guy that interviewed for the job at our place, didn't he?
I believe that's the case. Yeah. I think he did quite well at Port Vale, and for stages. And I think with Northampton, I'm not quite sure. I think they've pretty much kept what they wanted to. Maybe lost Ricky Holmes, I think, to Charlton, but I think they've still got the bulk of the side that were there. And so I think they'll do all right. Certainly, I don't really see any of the, including us, any of the promoted sides particularly struggling, to be honest. If you look at what Rob Page has got there at Northampton, and he's still got like people like Ryan Creswell and Zounder Diamond and people like that, and you got Alex Revel now as well, who's, if he's on it, will be a pain in the backside for any defence in the division. And you've still got Mark Richards, who's just got goals. So I think, like I said, I don't think any of the four will struggle, and I quite fancy Northampton to do quite well.
It's interesting. When you look at the transfers, they've also brought in Paddy Kenny, who I thought retired by now, but he's come through as goalkeeper, which is quite interesting.
Who are of those three teams, who are you most impressed with last season?
I thought our game versus Northampton was, at their place, was just one of the best game of football I saw in the division, if you know what I mean. I thought it was a fantastic game of football. I thought we were excellent. I thought they were excellent. I think we both tried to play some lovely football on a good pitch. I was really impressed with them. I was really impressed with them last year.
And Stu, have you noticed what links all these three clubs that we've got promoted with? Other than the fact that they got promoted with us?
What links them?
In relation to our good selves.
You've lost me on that one. Go on.
Northampton, Oxford, Bristol Rovers. What's our record like against those three teams, especially away from home?
Yeah, to be fair, not great. Although, to be fair, Trevor's spot on about the Northampton game, because that was it was a great game of football, and me and Trevor spoke about it before, but after we equalised when Lyle got that superb goal, we had them on the ropes for about 10 minutes, and it was just it was a good game to watch. But you can see why they won a league in the end.
They won their leagues. They kept bundles of clean sheets as well.
Yeah, they defend well, don't they, Trev?
If they can keep that, I'm not sure they'll keep as many clean sheets in the league above. If they can keep that sort of solidity, they would just. How many games did they win 1-0? It's a fantastic thing. It's a fantastic thing. you can keep a clean sheet. You've so always got a chance. I know it's a stupid thing to say, but it is just, if you can keep a clean sheet, you haven't got to play well. You're going to create at least one chance in a game with them players. It's just, I think they got. I can't quite remember, but felt like they had a lot of 1-0 wins last year.
And Stu, Michael Appleton, how long will it be before he gets the chop this season?
To be fair, when I said that last time we did this last season, you didn't disagree with me at all. To be fair,
I agreed wholeheartedly with you. To be fair to you, yes.
But then, to be fair to him, he got a major signing from West Brom reserves, didn't he? In Ruth. So, to be fair, is either his contacts are very good or stuff, but he done really well. In terms of, and sold him on for a profit for £3 million. And I was just thinking, actually, I think the guy they just bought in on loan is also from West Brom, if I actually remember correctly. They've just bought in 2 forwards, haven't they? Bought in Hemmings and also a loan signing as well.
Hemmings is the one from Scotland, isn't he?
Yeah, they brought in someone else as well. The Lyle Taylor lookalike that went around on the social media recently. But I think they've also got a loanee in as well. But yeah, Hemmings looks interesting from Dundee. But Appleton will be all right. Although Oxford have sold really well. Apparently, season ticket wise, they've sold a record amount of season tickets. So will there be expectation? And they've also got some money to spend, haven't they? So be interested to see of Oxford.
I think the big crowds come with big expectations as well, don't they? Despite them just coming up, I think the big crowds, the big stadium, and let's face it, Oxford are bigger than a League Two side. So I think there'll be some expectation there as well, which isn't always easy to deal with as a manager, isn't it? If it gets a little bit tricky at times.
Another thing we mentioned there, Northampton got a new manager. The 2 of the 3 teams that got relegated, we might only mention 2 of them, to be honest with you.
Yep.
They both start with new managers. Russell Slade has gone in at Charlton. Phil Parkinson in at Bolton. Looking round, a lot of the pundits have Charlton down to be looking to make an immediate return, but we know there's all manner of problems going on there at the moment. Trev, Russell Slade is a good appointment?
I think if they leave him alone, I think he'll be a very good appointment. Whether they'll leave him alone or not, it's another matter.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Well, to be fair, say jumping out of Cardiff. To be fair, I think Cardiff just had as many internal issues as maybe Charlton's had, isn't it? But
that's the word for you.
I was looking. They had a friendly yesterday. They had a friendly on Saturday. Sorry, they got 1,600 through the gate, which is interesting because they reckon, don't they, that they've not sold hardly anywhere near the amount of season tickets they were expecting. And I just can't see how their owner's going to stay away and leave Russell Slade in charge. But he does look he looks a very calm character, as if not much is going to faze him. So yeah, it'll be an interesting one.
Plenty of experience, hasn't he, of course. Phil Parkinson as well, who's left Bradford, hasn't he? Interesting appointment, I think, for Bolton, who, again, fresh start for them this season. They've had a lot of financial problems as well. Are Charlton and Bolton realistically, though, going to be up in the top 6 this season for you? Trev, what do you reckon?
I think Parkinson could be a very good appointment for Bolton. He knows the division. I think he'll be a good appointment for them. He knows the division. I think he's probably needs to do a bit with players and stuff like that. But I think he's a good manager. I think he understands the division. I think he'll do all right for him. Again, the only trouble is I think pressure. If they've not had a great start, will the pressure build up? I'm not so sure. I'm not quite sure what the chairman's situation is there at the minute either. I think they're obviously they've had their financial problems. I'm not quite sure what they've got squad wise at the minute, but I think again if they have a decent start and they let him get on with it, I think he's actually a good manager for the division. It's
interesting because I was looking through the transfers for Bolton. Bolton have lost 23 players over the summer, and some big names in that. So I'm looking at Neil Dans, Liam Freeney, obviously Emma Heskey. Who else we got? Goalkeeper Makubo, I think was a Man U at one point. The interesting one is David Weiser. He's been released, but I noticed he played their last pre-season game. So whether he can't find another club that's going to pay the money, maybe at Bolton. So I think that was Bolton's problem, wasn't it? Bolton had a lot of players on big money. So I don't know. My gut feeling, I just don't see Bolton going back up. I think they need a couple of seasons really to consolidate, and to be fair, Phil Parkinson is probably decent at doing that, but I think we've got a massive advantage in terms of getting them early on, because I think the later on in the season you play Bolton, I think they probably will regroup and probably Phil Parkinson would get a team together. But I think having them so early on, we've got a great chance of picking up some early points against them.
I think they've kept Zach Clough as well for now, who's a very good very little physically player, but he's a very talented player. I think as of now, I think he's still there, but I think he's one that people are going to be sniffing around. So I think if they keep him, that'll be a massive advantage for them.
Yeah, I looked. He wasn't on the bench yesterday. Yesterday on Saturday, he wasn't on the bench at all. But yeah, he must be worth a bit as well. I imagine if Bolton are going to need to sell to get some money in, he must be a very valuable asset, mustn't he?
You would have thought so, wouldn't you?
This word expectation then has been used quite a lot already. So we're looking at Charlton, Bolton, potentially Oxford with the big crowds and things like that. Clubs that a lot have expected of pretty much every season. Sheffield United and Coventry City. Let's start with Sheffield United. As we've already mentioned, that Chris Wilder left Northampton this summer. He's going to take his chances at Bramall Lane. It's been about 4 or 5 seasons now that they've been sort of stuck in League One. Stu, do you think it's a case of expectation too much for them, or they're suffering from being the biggest club in the division, and as we've experienced in the past, playing, without wishing to use this, comes a bit of a cliched phrase, but 46 cup finals, where every team raises their game for Sheffield United?
Yeah, I think Chris Wilder's a good appointment for them. They've desperately been trying to get a manager, haven't they, that can deal with expectation. Whether you could argue that maybe Chris Wilder hasn't been in that situation, but he's an ex-Blades player, isn't he? So he sort of knows Sheffield United inside out. But how long they're going to stay in this division, I don't know, because not that you should get promoted based on the size of your ground or anything like that, but you have to wonder how long Sheffield United are going to be in League One. But I think they're favourites to go up, which is probably not a surprise, really.
I think they'll be in League One till the end of this season. I can see them. I just think they've got too much in too many areas for teams. I think they can be defensively solid, and they've got an absolute embarrassment of riches as far as forwards go. If you look at the forwards they've just got goals everywhere. Billy Sharp, Leon Clark, even McNulty, who was on loan, and
Pompey, wasn't it?
Yeah, they've just got. I mean, you put Billy Sharp and Leon Clark. That's probably enough on their own. Add in McNulty, and then you've got people like Shay Adams who can score goals from midfield and stuff like that, and a certain Mr. Hussey providing some ammunition for them as well. I just think if they're not the top scorers in the division, I'll be quite surprised.
It's interesting with Leon Clark, though, isn't it? Because he's one that sort of does the rounds, doesn't he? And I know reading on some of the guest books, the league forums, they were saying, I think it was about $100,000 bid, I think, that got him to Sheffield United, but they were wondering whether actually would see the season out. He does seem to be a bit of a loose cannon, but can score goals for fun in that league, can't he?
Yeah, he's certainly as close to. He's almost a guarantee of goals for the $100,000. If it's $100,000 and he gets them out of the division, they'll be absolutely delighted with it, I would imagine.
Yeah,
probably operating with a bit of a smaller budget due to various off the field problems and issues. Coventry City, but again, a club that a lot would be expected of, and a manager, Tony Mowbray, that got a decent track record as well. Yeah,
Coventry's a weird one. I'm looking forward to it because I've not done Coventry. I've done Coventry's Highfield Road, but I've not done the Ricoh Stadium, which looks a nice stadium. Tony Mowbray looks like he can put a squad together. He looks like he's building for a long term rather than a short term, which is probably what Coventry need to do. I don't know. I'll be truthful. I've got him in my playoffs pot, really. I think they've got used to the division now. I think that's sometimes when you come down out of Championship, you have to acclimatise. Your fans have to acclimatise roughly. Do you know what I mean? You're not going to roll over teams. So, yeah, he looks a decent enough manager. I think Coventry would be. They're probably my playoffs, outside playoffs.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think they'll do all right. And sort of playoffs, I reckon. If Marvin Sordell gets goals and people like Tud Guy and that and Carl Reid, they are a threat. I'm not quite sure how big the squad is, though, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, they don't look like they're rolling in money. They don't exactly fill out the Ricoh, do they, really, either?
No, I think there's a lot of issues still hanging over them from previous seasons, and obviously the stadium problems that they had recently. So I'm not sure the budget, as I said, the budget isn't as big as perhaps for Sheffield United, or perhaps some of the other clubs that might be looking to be up there this season. Millwall, who lost out in the playoff final last year, will be heavily favoured, I think, to be in the top six again. Do they feature in either of your top sixes?
Yeah, I'd think so. They'll be up there. I think they'll be up there or thereabouts again. Their exciting end to the season at Wembley was probably, I think they'll be looking for to go a little bit better. I think they'll be there or thereabouts for automatic, I reckon. Gregory will score goals, so I think, they'll be there or thereabouts.
Yeah, I agree. I think the hurt of last season, to be fair, will drive them on. Harris looks a decent manager.
What about Bradford, beaten playoff semi-finalists last year? Stuart McCall's taken over there in the absence, or since the departure of Phil Parkinson. Stuart McCall, of course, a little bit of a legend with Bradford from their time when they were promoted into the Premier League, but managerial record up for conjecture. What did you make of that appointment, Trev?
It seems like, because I'm not quite sure what he did. I know he was working with Scotland. Was his last managerial gig Rangers? I think it was. I'm not entirely sure, but like it seems. I don't know if he was obviously coach. I think he was coaching with the Scottish setup, but he seems to have come in off a year or so, a couple of years break. So I don't know if he's a person that's always been around the club, if you know what I mean. So he's got a good idea of the league. But it does seem a slightly left field appointment, but it might well work. Who knows?
They've still got a strong squad from last season, haven't they, where they were in the top six, and they're going to be in the playoffs again, I would imagine. Stu, you talked about last week about James Hansen and the salary he was commanding there. Does that not give us an indication of the budgets and the level of budgets that we're going to be struggling against this season?
Yeah, reported about $4,500, take it with a pinch of salt, but I think it's very much a striker that I would love us to be able to attract, in terms of you can just knock the ball into the box and you get onto most things and bring people into the game. Looking
around the division then, Oldham Athletic. This will be their 20th consecutive season in League One. They have not gone up or down in 20 seasons. Outside of the Premier League, I don't think any club has had a run of that length. I think they hold the record for the most or longest number of consecutive seasons in one division. They've got Steve Robinson who's taken over there this season, and they've struggled towards the bottom end of the table the last few seasons. Similar vein to Colchester over the previous few seasons, who then last year did finally fall through to League Two. Are Oldham going to be one of our strugglers next year?
Yeah, Oldham's at one stage they had a very few about players actually registered, didn't they? And we obviously nicked one of their players early on in terms of Dom. But yeah, if you look at the betting money is on Oldham being the favourites for 6-1 to finish bottom. So the bookies don't tend to get it too wrong in that sort of way, but they do look like it could be another Blackpool situation. But I don't understand Oldham, because didn't they build a new stadium? They built a new ground. They built a new stand, didn't they, as well? So I don't understand why they're investing that sort of money if they haven't got the sort of stability behind that. I'm not too sure what's happening with Oldham.
Very strange situation. They had that stand down the side, which was essentially derelict for many, many years. They finally sort of knocked it down and put a new stand up. But as you say, money that's been invested there into the infrastructure of the stadium as opposed to perhaps the playing squad. Trevor, can't think of many clubs that we've had less to do with in the Football League for such a long period of time as Oldham. They're a bit of an unknown quantity, aren't they, in terms of our relationship with them?
Yeah, I remember, didn't we get hammered up there 6-2 or something?
I think
might even be on the plastic. Might not have been that, but I remember being beaten up there massively 6-2. I can't remember his name. The wonderfully mulleted striker.
Oh, was it Ian Marshall?
Yeah, I think it was. That was
it was a massive cut runs, didn't they, on that plastic pitch?
Yeah, they did. But like I say, this year, I think I had never heard of Steve Robinson. I'm not claiming to be a football expert. One bit of research I did was looking him up. So Northern Irish sort of coaching background and that. So I think that's going to be a big ask to come into a team that struggled. And I don't know. It's going to be, I think that's a big ask for any manager. I think it's going to be a big ask for a new manager as well, certainly. So I wouldn't like to predict anybody's relegation, but I'll certainly be delighted if they're not struggling. Put it that way, I would imagine.
Seems an awfully large number of seasons to be stuck in one league. They're probably quite grateful just for a change of scenery, I suppose, even if it meant falling through the trapdoor.
Well, let's be fair. There's 4 places to go down this year, isn't it? That's the worst thing that I realised when we got promoted was that in League 2 you've got 4 windows to go up, but of course when you're in League 1 you've got 4 opportunities to get relegated. So if they're going to take one of the places, I'm quite happy to thank them now.
Yeah, the highest turnover of teams I think appears in League 1, where you get 7 new teams every season. And this season, several new managers. We've touched on many of them, but let's have a look at a couple of others. Uwe Rosler recently appointed by Fleetwood Town. Do either of you have any insight into what's going on at Fleetwood? They lost their... Stephen Presley, I think, left. I'm not entirely sure why. Rumours of some financial investigations going on at the club, and then they appoint a very experienced manager.
He ain't going anywhere. Let's be fair, Rosler's not going to go anywhere that hasn't got a little bit of money behind him, surely. The sort of, well, to be fair, it was at Brentford before, wasn't he? So, but then they had a little bit of spending power. But Fleetwood have just got their new training facilities, so it looks like they're for a club that spend money to get sort of where they are. They at least they're trying to get an infrastructure that supports that and hopefully grows their own players. But I don't know, Fleetwood. They didn't do great last year. I'm just trying to look through actually for the league table. I don't think they did too well last year.
They were half struggling, weren't they, down the bottom with Blackpool, weren't they, till the end of the year? So
that's right. Yeah, finished 19th, 5 points away from relegation. So yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? You'd hope that we wanted to improve on that, but I don't know. My feeling is Rosler's not going to go anywhere that they haven't got a bit of ambition. But then nowadays they so much want to get back into the game, don't they? Quick as they can. Maybe that was just the best opportunity for him.
Yeah, I think so. And his last job was Leeds United, so you can't really draw any inference from his performance there, can you? So
get a reference off there, mate.
Yeah, well, just like you could be a brilliant manager at Leeds United and you still have no chance of doing anything there. So I think you're looking at his previous career, some good stuff with Brentford initially, and then he seems sort of has a good year and a bad year, but he's certainly a high profile one for League One, and you can expect him, if you're a player and you're thinking he's sort of one of them you might sort of be interested in working with as a manager, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I definitely make you right there about Leeds. They've had quite a lot of managers of late and quite a lot of decent managers as well, and of course they had Steve Evans as well. But yeah, well, how much can you judge at that football club at the moment? Bruno Ribeiro at Port Vale, another left field appointment. Any knowledge about him, Trev? Or is he another Steve Robinson?
He's Portuguese.
Okay. So maybe he's going to get a bit lucky like they did in the European champion, the Euro 2016. Maybe he'll bring that good fortune to Port Vale. But again... No,
it's interesting. I'd just be interested in the process that goes to appointing a manager who's, I don't think's managed in this country before. So like I say, I'm not necessarily sure it's a bad appointment. I just think it's an interesting process that you look abroad at that level where I might be wrong, and it might just be a sort of an introverted way of looking at it. I think a lot of the battle in the lower leagues is knowing players as much as anything else. So I think it's an interesting appointment, and I'd be interested in the sort of the thought process behind appointing what I think is a manager who hasn't had experience in this country and putting him into that league. So it'll be an interesting appointment. See how he does.
One to keep an eye on, definitely. One club, before we get onto our predictions for the coming season, one club, we'll talk about this club more later on, obviously, but let's just very quickly touch on Warsaw. Of course, the only Polish team to play in the Football League. Last season, beaten by Barnsley in the playoff semi-finals, and then obviously Barnsley went on to win at Wembley. They've lost their top scorer, Tom Bradshaw. He's departed. He's actually gone to Barnsley. So there's about 20 goals they've lost there. So, Stu, do you think they're going to be as successful as they were last season, or are they maybe looking at falling back into the pack this time round?
Well, let's be fair, if you lose your top goal scorer, it's going to impact you at some point. I don't think they lost him until, I think, about a couple of weeks ago, so they've only recently just lost him. So, and I imagine that wouldn't have been through choice. That had probably been a bit too high to refuse. But, yeah, I looked at it through the Walsall. They've not really, the Walsall returns have lost a few players, to be fair, but Bradshaw being the main one. They also have Annie Ford as well, to Robin. So they've lost a few. In through the gate, I'm just looking here, they got Frank Musa from Southend, Simeon Jackson, who's the old... He used to be a player for Norwich now, didn't he, if I remember properly?
Yeah, was he at Gillingham quite recently?
That's right, yeah. So he looks like the replacement for Bradshaw. But you have to think that if you're losing that amount of goals, then it's going to give you a bit of problem. I'm hoping it does, obviously, as we got in first game. And Walsall last year did score a hell of a lot of goals in some games. So that'd be good for us, hopefully.
Yeah, I think Stu's right. I think Simeon Jackson, and I'm not even sure where he's been recently, but he was a threat. He's quick. He's a lot of things you'd want. But like I say, I think they've lost a few important players out of their squad as well. So I think it'll be a little bit of readjustment for them certainly at the start of the season.
So Trevor, let's touch on then one final club we need to talk about is ourselves. What are you going into the season? What expectations are you going into the season with for us this year?
I think we'll be reasonably comfortable. I'd love to say we'd challenge the playoffs and do a Burton. I just think that's probably a little bit beyond us. I just think we've I don't think we'll struggle. I think we're going to go through periods. We're going to go through periods where we're going to lose games and we're going to not be picking up the points. I just think a calm head for everybody. When we do go through the little sticky passage, which I think we're undoubtedly going to do. But I think we'll be all right. I think we've got cover in midfield. If we get Sean Kelly, I think we've got cover at the back. We get the extra forward in. I think we'll have a nice balance everywhere on the pitch. I think a little bit of patience from the fans as well, because you got to say it is a hard division. If you look at the top end of it, I think it's incredibly difficult. If you look at the middle and the bottom end of it, I don't think it's that scary, if you know what I mean. I think the good sides are going to be very, very good. I think there's going to be enough in there that clubs around us and below us, I think if we beat them, we'll be comfortable and we won't have much to worry about.
You mentioned earlier Northampton last season and how defensively solid they were, grinding out a lot of 1-0 victories. That was true of us as well in the run-in to last season. I think we only conceded something like 2 goals in the final 9 or 10 games. How important was it for us to keep, well, first of all, in signing up Darius, as you've mentioned, and keeping a very strong back four when you think Barry Fuller, Paul Robinson, Jonathan Meads?
Yeah, absolutely. If and when they all stay fit, and we hope they do, I just think you'd like to think, and I do think, that we're not going to concede a lot of goals. So you think you've got Barry defensively. I just don't, one-on-one defending. He's a right back. I just think you look at him, and do you see anyone better around the division? Have you seen a better defensive right back than Baz in the last 2 years? Because I really don't think we have. I think I'm not quite sure we know quite what we've got in Baz, because he is brilliant. It was only a pre-season friendly. I don't think he gave Yannick Bolasie much of a kick, to be honest, and he's not a bad player.
Yeah, you're right. He was brilliant, wasn't he? He did treat I don't think Barry Fuller knows what a friendly is in terms of the way he approaches, does he? Do you know what I mean? With that,
no. To be fair, none of them do. None of them do. If you look at the back four, look for everywhere through the squad. You look at the back four. Ard must love having Robbo and Darius of his 2 centre halves. He's got their 2 captains on the pitch. Everything they do and say is ideal. They're brilliant to have around the dressing room. And you've got Baz and Meads who just do their jobs. A threat going forward and defensively solid. So we keep them 4, brilliant. And then after that, you've got Will and Sweens to come in. And then if we get Sean Kelly, then you've got cover pretty much across the back 4. So I think defensively, you'd like to think would be solid enough, and it's up to the other end to just nick the goals that we need to have a nice, comfortable, boring mid-table season.
Stu, you're probably not going to thank me for this question, but Will Nightingale and Ryan Sweeney, their progress, is it going to be affected by us being promoted? Is it possible that perhaps for Sweeney, League One might have come a little bit too soon for him?
It's difficult to know, isn't it? Because there's a couple ways you can look at it. Obviously, I think Robbo and Darius are his first choice, and I think rightly so, because I think experience at the moment is important. But I think they're good enough. I think Will and Ryan are good enough, and also they're going to be, the higher up the leagues we go, they're going to be training with better players, aren't they? So, the standard of players that we're bringing in terms of Dom, we brought in Dean Parrott, I love, and Weltdale, I think will, as he gets fitter and with how we play, I think it's an excellent player. I think they can only get better. I suppose what you have to look at is where's the opportunity going to come into. I was looking at the Dons player, and Coxey's talking about, I think, 18 games in about 7 weeks or so at the start of the season. So will Darius and Robbo play at all of them? Unlikely, isn't it? So we've got good backup, and Will needs a run of games. He's probably going to start with sort of under 21s and stuff like that. He needs to just get a run of games to make sure he gets past his injury worries, which annoying knocks out for challenges that he goes in for sometimes. And Sweeney just looks to be getting bigger and bigger. And whatever they were feeding Paul Canamaya on the summer, I don't know, because Trev, they just keep getting bigger. And they're massive players, aren't they?
You look at Paul and that, and to be fair, the players fill out at different stages. But you look at Will and that. Will's always been a unit. Like Sweens has always had the height and stuff like that. His brother played for us, and he's a big old lump as well. No, lump would imply there's 1 ounce of body fat there, and there's clearly. But no, I've got no problem. No worries about Will coming in and covering for either of the 2 centre halves. Where certainly early on, certainly went into our Johnson Paint Trophy, as it's now not called, group stagey games. You can just, I don't think Ards is going to just play Robbo and Darius week in, week out. I think Will and Sweens will definitely get their chance, and to be fair, it doesn't worry me in the slightest.
I think it's the LDV Vans Trophy. I'm not sure.
Have they actually got a sponsor?
I don't think they have got a sponsor yet, no. I don't think they're going to get one either. Anyway, moving on then. Let's start our predictions then for the season with Stu and a prediction from where we'll finish.
I've gone for mid-table, to be honest with you. I just want an average season of us winning nice 6-pointers and maybe getting a win at Sheffield United and some other place up north. I reckon about 13-14. I will quite happily snack my hand off for that and take a mid-table finish this season.
Trev?
So it's 14th to 16th. Something about that.
Yeah.
With not being particularly worried about relegation after October, November time.
Yeah, I think we'll all settle for that quite nicely. Okay, so let's get on to the big predictions then. You can join in with this as well if you have a look at our Facebook page, facebook.com/9YRS podcast, or email us as well, 9YRS@may14.co.uk. There are flyers and things with all the information you need out on all our social media at 9YRS podcast, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, everything. But Trev and Stu are going to go first. Let's start alphabetically. We'll start with Stu. Who is going to win League One this season?
I'm going with Sheffield United this year.
And Trev?
Yeah, Sheffield United.
Okay. That's
hotly pursued by Charlton.
Charlton to be runners-up?
Yeah, I think so.
Stu, runners-up?
I'm going to go to Bristol Rovers.
Wow.
I just finished the season last year and they got a new ground coming up, and I just don't know. I've got a feeling if they keep Matty Taylor, I've just got a feeling they may go through.
Cool. Who do you think then? I think you might have already mentioned that you think Coventry might be in and around the playoffs. Who else do you think will be in there?
Yeah, so I've gone for, in no particular order, Coventry, Millwall, Northampton and Scunthorpe I've gone for, just to please Coxey. But no, in all seriousness, they got very close in the end last season to the playoffs, and I've got a feeling they may continue that through next season.
Stu's always trying to keep Cox happy. Trev, your playoff teams?
Millwall, Coventry. I think Northampton will be there. I've got a funny feeling for Peterborough as well.
Yeah, we've not actually spoken about Peterborough. We will do it at the end of the shows. We've got them in the week in the Cup as well. Which 4 teams do you think are going to go down then, Trev? Which 4 are in trouble?
I don't. I think I don't like particularly predicting relegation. It seems a rather mean-spirited thing to do.
We like mean-spirited things. That's fine.
Fair enough. I think if you look at the bottom, the ones who struggled last year, I've already said I don't think any of the promoted sides are going to struggle. So if you look at your Shrewsburys and Oldhams, Fleetwood, you'd like maybe Uwe Rosler would have a little bit more to get them out of that sort of area. But I think beyond, and Chesterfield look like, if the rumours around Chesterfield are true, they seem like they might be in trouble as well. So I'd say Oldham, Chesterfield, Shrewsbury would be certainly looking to go down, and one other who I wouldn't even hazard a guess at the minute.
Chesterfield is one we haven't actually mentioned. There's a lot going on there at the moment. Obviously, they have signed a certain striker that is somewhat contentious. There are also issues there with the running of the club as well. So it's a little bit of it doesn't seem like the happiest place to be at the moment. Stu, What do you think of the bottom 4?
Yeah, I agree. I've gone for Oldham. Chesterfield are an absolute nightmare from what it sounds like, and their fans. I think when your fans are on your back already before you start about your backroom staff and all that sort of stuff, you're in trouble. So Oldham, Chesterfield. My other 2 are Swindon, who seem to have lost quite a lot of players and not replaced them, and Bury. I just think it might be a case Bury may drop as well.
Cool. Then the big important question, most important prediction. 14th place. Stu, who's going to finish in 14th place?
14th place?
Yes.
I will go with someone like Gillingham.
Trev? Yeah, you did sort of say 14th to 16th.
Yeah, I've got to really
for us, so you'll go with us as well. Gillingham, Stu's interesting one. Was it Lee Martin picked up a nasty injury last week? Yeah. Which is always a horrible situation for the player involved, but it almost sounds a little bit, I'm not sure what the word is, but a little bit harsh maybe, a little bit cold, but to think of it for the club as well, who have lost an important player at a very crucial part of this, you know what I mean, where there's little time to really do much about it.
They also lost, I think they've got a few injuries as well. I think Aaron Morris, one of ours, is injured as well, so I think they've picked up a few injuries pre-season, which thankfully, touch wood, we stayed away from, haven't we?
We have been very fortunate with injury. We've been very, very lucky. Top scorer. Any bets for top scorer? I think there was one name that was mentioned at Sheffield United, Billy Sharp. You'd always expect to be up there and thereabouts, wouldn't you? Any other predictions?
It's a difficult one, isn't it? There's a lot. The thing is, there's a lot of good strikers in League Two, but I don't know.
There's a lot in League One as well.
I'm going to go with someone like Lee Gregory. I think what Trevor was saying before, if Millwall going to score goals, Gregory does score an awful lot, so I think I'll go for him.
I thought Billy Sharp or Lee Gregory. Nicky Josie will be interesting if he can have another season like he had at Swindon. I think Charlton have got a lot of creative players, some very young ones as well. I think if he can get that sort of goal form going, I think Nicky Josie might not be a bad outside bet.
And just looking through the actual list here, Lyle Taylor was 20-1 to be top goal scorer next season.
Wasn't he 21 this time last season for League Two?
Probably was, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he was. I think people had a few bets on him at 20-1. It'll be interesting to see if he can be up there again this year. Certainly hope he will be, of course. Thank you very much, Trev, for joining us. We cannot let you go without asking you a very important question about the kit in your role as kit man or joint kit man at the club.
I want to take all the credit for that position.
Yeah, well, I know you do. Don't worry. Warsaw, then. Is there any exclusives onto what colour we might be playing in at Warsaw?
I could give you an exclusive, but I don't actually know the answer. So,
okay. So this means that it hasn't been decided as of yet. So
it means Rocket hasn't decided. Sorry, the powers that be haven't decided. I don't know, to be honest.
Okay. Do you know
it'll be blue, yellow, or green?
Thanks. We have to. We know we can't wear blue in the week away at Peterborough. So I'm just thinking it might just make it things. So what you're suggesting is we'd wear blue. It's our first game in League One. Yeah.
We're going to wear blue.
Yeah.
And then we'd wear yellow on Tuesday against Peterborough.
That's the one.
And then we'd wear blue. That'd give us plenty of time to launder the blue kit for the home game against Bolton.
Yeah. Perfect.
There's certainly logic behind
it. Kit.
Yeah.
It's a lucky kit, though, Nick.
Well, I don't think it's that lucky because I'm pretty sure it's not going to get as much of a run out this year as it did last season with the yellow kit coming into the play. But Warsaw, no clash of kit, blue. Let's make it happen. We're going to play it blue away at Warsaw. I was hoping Trevor was just going to say yes, definitely.
Yes, okay, yes, definitely, definitely. You want that to happen, obviously. I'll confirm that you want that to happen.
Thank you very much, Trevor. It's been a pleasure having you. And thank you once again for joining us, and good luck for the season. Lots of tricky fixtures to deal with this season, including some midweek northern away games, which are not ideal.
No, I'm looking forward to Scunny on the Tuesday and then Bolton Wanderers away on the Saturday.
Ouch. Okay.
The backup. Is there any games back to back? Are they?
That's the one that sort of stuck out as thinking that's going to be a fun week. I'm thinking about taking a week off work for that because I'm not entirely sure. If you think probably overnight, not going to get back from Scunny till silly o'clock, and then probably leave. Bolton will be overnight, so that'll be a Friday morning departure. So yeah, I'm thinking a few days off work might not go amiss there.
And a trip to Newport in the EFL Trophy to look forward to as well.
Well, yeah, that group could have been, when we saw the group before we knew the fixtures. I think that could have been them having one away and two homes. If the two away were and included Plymouth, that could have been a trek. Also, could have been possibly a record low turnout for away fans as well.
Yeah,
possibly home fans. I'm not sure Plymouth would want to see us again anytime soon. Bless them.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a kick in the teeth for them, really, isn't it, to get us? But never mind, eh?
I'm not quite sure beating us in the non-JPT would quite be revenge for May the 30th.
It's a whole new team as well. Plymouth have changed their team. What I looked at, a lot.
Yeah,
so
they've lost a lot of very good players because the wide boy, is it Wild's gone to League One somewhere, hasn't he? So we'll be seeing him again.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I really liked him. So they've had a massive turnover there. So it's been nice to watch. Nice to see what's happening in League Two with a dispassionate eye, won't it? Be quite an interesting.
I'm still giving interest. Just see how poor Luton do.
Thank you very much.
That was said with no side at all, Stuart.
I'm just going to ignore that was said. And let's move on. But thank you very much for joining us, Trev, and we shall speak to you again during the season, I'm sure.
Cheers, mate. Thanks a lot.
It's going to be very busy for Dominic Polion over the next few months now, because now the season starts and we've got away games to travel to, for instance, Walsall and Peterborough. He's going to struggle to get to visit to all these Football League grounds that he has to go for Polion Go, but he's going to plough on anyway, Stu. I think that's dedication, is it not?
Superb, Dom. Well done, Dom.
Yeah, well done, Dom. Thank you very much. You're 1-1 so far this season, Stu. You correctly guessed on week 1 that he had ended up in Port Vale. In Port Vale? I don't think you can end up in Port Vale, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, Port Vale's not a place.
No, but the stadium of the football club he was at. And then last week he was at Derby County.
That's right, in the Midlands somewhere.
Yes, the Midlands somewhere. You're quite right. Your geography is spot on.
It should be the amount of times I've been travelling around that area.
Oh, well, that's an interesting thing to say ahead of this week's Polion Go. So this week, Dominic has decided to drive. He's not used the train. So he's got onto the M1 and he's turned off at junction 22. That's your first clue. Is that of any use to you whatsoever?
Junction 22
of the M1.
That's past Birmingham. It must be at least. So, no, I'm not going to get on. I'm not going to get on junction 22. Although I think that's Leeds somewhere. I might be wrong, but yeah.
Okay, right. Well, don't think about Leeds then, because he's got to the ground. He's found it on the various A roads. His first reaction is that the ground is quite small, and he thinks that the capacity is going to be less than 10,000.
Wow. That's less than 10,000. Okay. Ooh. Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, I still... 10,000? What grounds?
Well, there's quite a few, actually, when you think about it.
Oh. Yeah. I'm going to go for Accrington.
Okay, you still got one more clue, thankfully, because that's horrendously wrong.
Okay.
But funnily enough, when I thought of grounds with less than 10,000 capacity, Accrington was the first one that sprang into my mind. But it's not Accrington Stanley.
Okay.
This ground in particular, he's just getting up to the sign outside that tells you all about the ground. There's sort of two clues in this one. First bit is that it does say that the ground was opened in 2005. But Dom reckons he'll never tire of this stadium's name. A cryptic clue there.
2005.
Yeah, but he'll never tire of the stadium's name.
Tire? 2005.
I think I'm giving it away by saying that clue.
Well, you're not really, because I still can't get it. Tire. What goes in with tire? 2005.
2005.
If you have to think of up north 2005, newest ground is something like... No, it's not, that's too far north.
I'm going to give you 5 seconds.
I don't know, if we're being truthful. That's really bugging me. Like, I think like Morecambe or something like that.
Okay, was that your final answer?
Yeah, I'm going to be gutted, I think, on this one.
Yeah, I think you will be. What I will say to you is that in 2005, this ground was not a Football League stadium. But next season it will be hosting Championship football.
I was going to say Burton as well.
Oh, but you didn't. You see?
No, because of 2005 done me. I'm thinking, 1 second, I've been there over the last 5 years. It couldn't have been that new. And then where's the tyre thing coming from?
Well, it's called the Pirelli Stadium.
Oh, bull.
Yeah. Well, no, it's true.
I was going to say Burton. That's junction 22. I've gone well too far up north, haven't I?
Yeah, when you said Leeds to begin with, I was thinking, okay, yeah.
Too many junctions on the one.
There are far too many.
Okay, well, that's now 1 out of 3 now. I'm doing well. I'm getting back to standard now.
Yeah, no, you can get back up to 50% next week. What might change next week about this game is this music. I'm not putting up with this music for much longer. It's driving me insane.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll change the music for next week. Next week, of course, we will know how we got on at Walsall and Peterborough. Let's have a quick look ahead of those games. Let's start with... We can't really do too much about Peterborough, I suppose, but Walsall, Stu, if you could take a draw now, would you take it?
Yeah, I would do, but I don't know, I'm thinking about I think we'll take a draw, but we're on the back of a really happy sort of time, and we're in a good, team's in a good frame of mind. So yeah, if we go there and win, it'd be great. That's probably me being the League Two greediness of last year. So yeah, draw probably would be a good result.
Obviously, we'll both be up there. It should be a good day out, whatever happens. It's a new stadium for my good self. New stadium for you?
Yeah, new stadium for me. I've gone past Walsall so many times when travelling up north, believe it or not. You wouldn't believe I travel when my guest is on grounds. But, yeah, I've been past that ground so many times and wanted to go in there. And, yeah, finally will on Saturday. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's one of those grounds. Many of us would have been past on the motorway, and you can actually see into the stadium, can't you? And yeah, after quite a long time, finally going to actually see it for ourselves. If you were going to go, give us a score prediction.
I think we'll score. So 1-1, 2-1, 1-1 maybe.
Fair enough. Any other games that have taken your eye on opening day of the League One season?
Let's have a look. I must admit, you did ask me this question. I did prepare, and then I've lost my list. It's going to, Joe, what? Coming into League Two is going to take a little bit getting used to, isn't it?
Say that again.
League Two, going to League One. Getting to League One is going to really take some getting used to be fair.
Clearly.
Yeah. I'm interested, from a personal point of view, I'm interested to see how the teams that are relegated are going to do. Or, well, 2 out of 3 of them. The other one I couldn't care less what they do.
Mm-hmm. I don't like Bolton either.
I'm sort of sitting Bolton at home to Sheffield United, bearing in mind we play them the week after, to see really how Sheffield United deal with Bolton, because I think Bolton are very much an unknown what's going to happen. And Charlton go to Bury. So Bury are my tips to be in one of the relegation places, but I think Charlton are going to internally combust, personally. Them 2 games I'm probably looking at.
Internally combust? Do you mean spontaneously combust?
Same thing, isn't it?
No.
No. I just think Charlton have got so many internal problems that it's going to affect their performance on the pitch, and I just I don't see him. I just see him having a real difficult season, and I think Russell Slade is going to need the patience of a saint to get through that season.
I would agree with you on that one. I also agree with the Bolton Sheffield United point. I just wonder if Sheffield United might slip up at Bolton. Port Vale travelled to Bradford in a game that I'll be keeping an eye out on for, just because it's 2 new managers, Stuart McCall versus Bruno Ribeiro, as we discussed earlier, and it'll be interesting to see how they get along. Following on from Walsall, we then come back to England for a trip to Peterborough in the League Cup. All League One affair. I've got no idea what to expect from this, but Law of Averages suggests we have to win a game in this competition sooner or later. Now, Dagenham and Richmond, God love them, in their 8 or 9 seasons, or however many it was in the Football League, they lost every single game they played in the Football League Cup lesson before they then returned to non-league. Are we going to do it this year?
You hope so, wouldn't you? We've had some. To be fair, we've had some cracking games at league that level. Sorry, put my teeth in. Peterborough is a weird one, isn't it? Because I don't think they're a happy club at the moment. They've had a lot of movement. Darren McAnthony has mucked around again and got rid of a lot of players who are not. He doesn't feel good enough for the club. He wants them to regress. I don't know. Maybe it's a good time to play him again this season. Do you know what I mean? They're again a club that I'm not too sure what they're going to do. They normally invest very well in players. They normally have a lot of good players, good young players. But we've got our League Cup run's got to get better eventually. And going on the back of our promotion, surely I'm hoping that might lead us into the early part of the season, winning a few games. So it would be nice, wouldn't it?
Otherwise, in the League Cup first round, there's one standout tie, clearly. Luton hosting Aston Villa. Everybody's second club, Luton. At Kenilworth Road. That'll be a great occasion.
Joe, out of all the fixtures, I missed that. I know why. It's because it's the Wednesday. And
it's live on the telly box.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay. To be fair, I saw Tuesday and thought there's not many. And then you said there's a standout fixture, and I went, well, I've not seen them. But I didn't look at Wednesday.
There we go. Should have looked at Wednesday. I mean, there are a couple of other interesting ones as well. Blackpool Bolton, obviously, is a
the better one.
Big tie.
The better one I like is Bristol Rovers Cardiff.
Okay.
That's sort of area of the country, isn't it?
Wales.
Well, yeah, Bristol was just over the bridge, isn't it? It's Cardiff.
This is true, but Cardiff are travelling to Bristol, and they're Welsh. So yeah, we've had this conversation before.
We have, haven't we? We have, especially after we discussed Newport and how much we don't want to go back to Newport. And hey,
and look where we ended up.
We ended up Newport.
Newport have an interesting opponent in the League Cup.
Opponent? Are we going into a foreign? The opponent? They all say, don't they? Guardiola, the opponent is not very good. No. But the opposition is not very good.
Well, I know, but do you know what? I struggled because I'm trying to think about how to get out of saying the name of the opposition. But you know who I mean.
That's an early chance for Sean Rigg to become a legend, because obviously we're not allowed to officially hit them or whack them under the Wimbledon umbrella. But for any other club, you're allowed to do that. So Sean Rigg, if you're listening and you want someone to pay your fine for taking out Dean Lewington, we will gladly pay it.
We will do indeed. Predictions then for these two games. Stu and I, we're going to again post them on the Ask a Prediction League. Okay, now this is interesting. If you'd like to predict all the results of all our games this season, you can do so along with about 50 other Wimbledon fans on www.neils-wfc-site.co.uk/APL2. Now, last season, Slough Womble was the winner of this competition, so well done to Slough Womble. If you are listening, Slough Womble, please chuck us a tweet at 9YRS Podcast, or if you're not on the Twitter, I don't know why I say on the Twitter. You know whose fault that is? That's Chris Jericho, wrestler. Says the Twitter all the time. But anyway, email us 9YRS@may14.co.uk. Last season, I finished 23rd place. Now, what worries me about this is that Stu finished 29th. And I say it's worrying because I finished 6 places above Stu, but I predicted 30 more times than he did. And I only managed to end up 6 places above him. So I will endeavour to be more regular with my predictions this season and keep up to date with it on Asker's Prediction.
I will do it as well. I will make sure I do it because I just want to make sure I beat you, Nick.
Well, you've got a long way to go, apparently, because I beat you last season. Also, this season, we are going to do the Super 6, Sky Super 6. There is a 9YRS podcast. Why do I say 9YRS podcast? That's because of how it appears when you write it down. Obviously, a 9 years podcast mini league on the Super 6. So if you have the Sky Super 6 app, then you can go and join our league on there. You can just do it online if you want. Just create an account. If you Google Sky Super 6, just create an account, and once you're in, go to leagues along the top of the page, then click join a league, and you will find us on the following code. It is M2G71G. That's M2G71G. And I think that brings us to the end of this week's show. Updates from Warsaw and Peterborough are available on 9yrspodcast.org, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Check us out on there. Very much looking forward to, as I've mentioned before, Stu, our trip to Warsaw.
Can't wait, I've got a passport ready.
Do you know the name of their stadium?
No, I didn't know it, but my mind's gone. I've got to do a lot of work on League One, and
Yeah, shall I tell you what it is?
Yeah, go on.
It's the Banks's Stadium.
The what?
Banks's.
Why have I got... for some reason in my head, I've got like the Bescott Stadium or something.
Well, that's the proper name of it, but it's the sponsored name is the Banks's Stadium. Do you know why it's called the Banks's Stadium? Do you know who sponsors it?
A bank?
No. It's Sasha Banks, the WWE Women's Champion.
No, don't be silly. I haven't got a clue what Walsall is.
She probably doesn't, to be fair.
To be fair, right, I think we should do this season. I don't know about you, how you feel about it. We should call all the grounds by their official names, not by their sponsorship names.
So do you mean their traditional names?
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay, fair enough. So London Road for Peterborough then?
Yeah, that sounds better there. It sounds more cultured.
Yeah, I agree with you. So we're going to the Bescott?
The London Road ground.
Is it actually the Bescott Stadium? Was that a sponsor as well? I don't know.
Probably was. We'll find out. But you're just thinking like all these. Like I've got a Bolton friend who I was talking the Reebok Stadium, and it's not that anymore.
No, but can we really call the traditional name of Bolton Stadium the Reebok Stadium?
No, we can't, because that's still a sponsor name, isn't it?
Exactly. So we're in a bit of trouble now, aren't we?
We'll have to try and find out what the original names are, or we'll just make a name up for them.
Should we just pretend that it's still Burnden Park for Bolton?
Burnden Park. Now, that was a ground. That was
certainly a ground, yes. Yes, it was.
That was a proper ground. But
proper old school.
That's when you sound like you're getting really old when you go, yeah, nothing like that in the old days. Better in the old days.
Yeah, well, everything was better in the old days, Stu. We all know that.
Yes.
And I'm only 24. Anyway, thank you very much for this week, Stu.
No problem.
Thank you very much for Trevor Williams for joining us. And please join us next week when we'll be joined by the Pope. Can you believe this? To just wonder how his pre-season training with Wycombe Wanderers has been going, because it seems to be working pretty well for him. We'll see you then. That's because he fell over.
I know, yeah, no, I just said.
Yeah, it wasn't.
She fell over.